Welcome to Life It with the DVD. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. Today I wanted to talk about the importance of teaching and practice in that teaching. So, as has been a theme here on this channel for a while, um, there's a lot of things that I do that I would consider myself to be pretty good at. However, at the same time, I haven't done a lot of these things professionally. I don't have a certificate. I, I don't have formal training. These are things that I just research because I'm genuinely curious, and over the years, I've just developed a depth of information, knowledge, wisdom on all of these topics, all these different topics. And because I have, investigated all of these things, I find a lot of overlap in some of these topics that is supremely beneficial to have that cross relational knowledge. I believe I've called it in the past of all of these different domains. Now, I may not be an expert in all of these things, but when I look at the whole, there is a lot of different concepts and just practical wisdom that can overlap in one area to another. So when I get into the whole concept of practice and learning, what I've recently realized is that I need to be practicing utilizing this knowledge and this information. And even though I might not be, an expert at this, at all of these things, practicing it, talking about it, trying to teach it, right? Just me doing these videos is incredibly important for building confidence in any skill in any domain. Uh, just recently, I've tried to take everything that I already do, and I'm trying to basically just get myself on video and talking about it, practicing it, teaching my process in how I go about it. Because not only can that help other people in learning some of the things that I already know, but it also helps me to get a more concrete understanding and develop more confidence of my own in these specific domains. Because as I've talked about in the past, I'm an INFJ. I intuit a lot of different things. There's a lot going on up here that it's confusing sometimes. There's a lot of, it's like a web of knowledge, a web of just data points that, unless it's called upon, it's hard to articulate sometimes where I'm pulling these pieces of information from. It some of the things that I can remember and uh, just articulate when I'm called upon to teach it, or just remember it, is quite amazing to me, because it's like it comes out of nowhere. But at some point I learned it, and it's all but forgotten until there's something else. There's an association within that web that brings up that cross relational knowledge. So this is just one of the factors of why it's important to teach. So not only can you combine ideas, in a practical way, but also that it builds your own confidence in developing your skills on these things. I've talked many times about imposter syndrome, and I have terrible imposter syndrome. um, I have done so many things. I've gotten degrees in, all sorts of, different fields, full stack development, economics, psychology. I have a lot of different things that I've learned, but because But because I haven't used it, I haven't practiced it actively, and even when I have practiced these things in a job or whatever, oftentimes it's not really what you learned. It's something different. So my initial interest was in that field of expertise, but then you end up doing something different compared to what you thought you were going to be doing. But once again, you're not actually practicing it. You're practicing some form of bureaucracy and organization and administration that it's like, yeah, sure, anybody can, you know, like do these things, right? If they're taught. But it doesn't really get into the domain of learning more about these specific domains and combining them and advancing them, creating upon them, and creating something new, creating something where people can learn from it, and you can advance your own understanding of your knowledge. Because I think ultimately that's what it's about. I mean, anything that you're interested in, the more that you talk about it, are able to articulate it, it will help you develop more of an understanding of it, which you might even find more interesting, right? That might generate your curiosity in the topic or a specific field or niche even more than you already have. Um, but ultimately, the whole the whole certificate and degree thing that like leads to, I think, a feeling of imposter syndrome. Um, you know, ultimately, you don't need that, right? Some people might want it. Some people might have a certainty. They might feel good when people have certain qualifications or certifications. But then there's another, segment of the population that feels, way more interested in, hey, what have you done? What do you talk about? What do you do? What are you practicing? What are you curious about and learning? And I think, that's really the direction, at least I need to go. I think other people need to go. I think other people need to understand that just because you have a piece of paper doesn't mean you're actually developing knowledge and wisdom on a topic. Um, and I just see so many people skating through life, um, thinking that piece of paper gives them some sort of entitlement for things, and sometimes it does, sometimes it does, but oftentimes I feel like I have a deeper knowledge base than some of the people that have these same degrees. Um, I'm sure I'm not alone in the only person thinking that. So ultimately, it's just about me sharing and practicing these things. And of course, I'm not always going to be right. I'm not calling myself an expert here. I'm just calling myself somebody that likes to dig deep, do investigation, and try some things and to see what works. Because I think I have enough knowledge under my belt at this point where I can start to talk about these things with a little bit more confidence, but that happens through practicing. So um, that's why that's why I'm talking today. This is why I'm just talking about the importance about practicing and teaching. And I think the other thing that's really just quite fascinating to me is just how our own minds think, how we do remember things, how we connect pieces of data and really can transform it into something greater than what you've already learned. Um, because ultimately, I don't remember a lot of the details. If I'm asked to recall, something, um, I might not always remember like those specific details. I find that a lot of people that do better on standardized testing or are more memory oriented, where intuition, right? Intuition, where you're, connecting seemingly separate pieces of data into something that is actually a more based and well thought out answer, isn't as respected. Um, However, it's been thought through way more through the unconscious process of just letting the intuition do its work while you're not thinking about all of these things and trying to memorize pieces of data of like, oh, this is that and that is this. It's more like, you know, this is all of these pieces of information, of data, that sensory data kind of that you've received from an experience, or that experience can be learning or an actual experience or just a logical thought process, and the intuition distills down all of that that data into different points, and then when you're learning something new or you're trying to apply something new, it's almost like your body or your mind is like in the motion for a thought process to the point that it's able to recall these things that like I said are from like a long time ago that you don't even know are in there still. But that's what makes the mind so beautiful. And as usual, we are in control of our mind. We need to be careful with our attention, what we are letting into our mind, and we can't just turn it off all the time. It's good to turn it off for sure sometimes, be in the present, but when you are in that present moment, be careful what you are letting in to your consciousness, because your subconscious will absorb it and it will do it without filtering it consciously. So we just need to be mindful if we're trying to live our best life, that we become aware of the things that we want to put into our life and the things that might not have the best themes. So if you need help with that in your own life, let me know. I'd be happy to help you. Put down in the comments, some of the things that you're practicing that you would like to improve, and if it's helped you improve by teaching it, by talking about it, by just putting in the reps, right? I mean, at the end of the day, this is simple putting in the reps for something that you want to improve at. It's no different than exercising. This is what it's like to be life fit, right? You just have to do the same thing over and over again until it is a natural process and you just feel confident doing that process, doing that action. So I hope this distilled wisdom may be able to help today somebody. But let me know. And if you enjoyed this, please like or subscribe. And I guess that's it for now. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye.